Hey folks, Curly Chronicles here. If you are new to the channel, I want to say thanks for clicking on my video. My name is Autumn, and my channel focuses on my love of nature, gardening, and the great outdoors, as well as personal style and natural hair care, which is how I started here on YouTube. If you're interested in any of those things, I hope you will subscribe. You like my intro? I've been working on that. I've been working on it. So I hope that tells you a little bit about who I am. I am a woman who likes the best of both worlds. I want to be a lumberjack out in nature, and I also want to look a little sophisticated and smell really good. And so I feel like I'm trapped between two worlds sometimes. See me out there chopping wood, then you see me, and I look all like I should be on a, I don't know, one of those like Harlequin, romance novels, a little cover of the book. Anyway, that's me in a nutshell. So today's video is all about style, and I wanted to kick off, I don't know if I would call it a series because it's just a part of the channel, but I wanted to kick off the videos that will be forthcoming on personal style, my personal style. And so this is like an introduction to me and my aesthetic. I thought I would talk first about how I got into style, what inspired me, and then kind of go from there. So first things first, earliest memories that I have of style are centered directly around my mother. My mother, she's a New Yorker. She knows how to dress. She's a real snazzy dresser. She has always looked good. Didn't matter what era, didn't matter what decade. It did 60s, 70s, 80s. She always looked good. And so I have lots of memories of just looking around in her closet, staring at her coats and her jackets and her belts. She had her belts in one area, and she had her shoes over here, and she had her dresses and her jeans and her coats and her all sorts of stuff. She had hats, she had scarves, gloves. So there was a lot of accessories and things to look at. And then I also looked on her dresser a lot. Every time I go to my mom's house and I go to her room, I'm on the dresser like, what's this? What's this? Ooh, I like that one. Look at this bottle. It's beautiful. She always teases me about this. Hi, mommy. I have very, very fond memories of just being in her room, watching her get ready to go somewhere or go to work. Didn't really matter where she was going. She always looked good. Even if she had to look a little bit more sporty and go somewhere where you needed to be a little bit more active, she still looked good all the time. So those were my earliest memories, and that is probably my biggest inspiration. Also my grandmother. My grandmother dressed really good. My great aunt looked gorgeous. I had all these pictures I used to see of her. I was like, oh my God, that was young. Very cute, okay? Very cute. So my folks are they just got that thing. Also, some of my people from back in the day, were hanging out at the Cotton Club back in the day. And so, you couldn't go to the Cotton Club and be busted. That was just a no-go. Those were my inspirational people. And over the years, I've tried different looks out. I've tried different aesthetics. I've been very bohemian, very hippie. I was really into vintage and retro style. So I was definitely rocking a 1940s kind of look, which is kind of how this hairstyle came about. And sidebar, I filmed 2 videos in a day. Go me, look at me being all productive today. So yeah, I tried different things out. And I got to a point where I pretty much kind of do a mix of vintage and, more modern style clothes. But I do like a little bit of a flair towards the past. And it's just because a lot of those clothes just look good. They hang well on my body. A lot of clothes of today, they're not necessarily for that inverted triangle, that athletic body type. Everyone's doing the very hourglass shape thing now. And so I typically don't like things that kind of fall into that realm. I like things that accentuate my lack of hippage, but sometimes I want to look a little bit more, straight up and down. Depends on my mood for the day. And that's really what personal style is all about. It's about how you want to dress your body and what you think looks good on your body, and not about what is trendy, because a lot of things that are trendy just don't work for a lot of us. They don't flatter us. At the end of the day, it's your life, and can't nobody tell you how to dress. If you like it, then you wear it. But if you understand that this is not flattering on you and it doesn't make you feel good, but you feel like this is the style and this is the trend, you don't have to wear that. You should not wear that. Rebel against the system. Okay, I pretty much kind of centered on a style that incorporates some vintage, some modern or contemporary, and then just a little bit of quirkiness sometimes. Sometimes I just like to mix and match. And this is because, as I mentioned in my previous video, I worked in academia, and so I had to have a little bit more of a smarter look. And that was how my look kind of like transformed, you know? There was a little bit of like office secretary, librarian. So it's a little smart, vintage, quirky, sophisticated. That's me in a nutshell. And there's a different aesthetic, of course, that I'm gonna have if I have to be out chopping wood, you know. I'll still smell really good though. I have to think about function and what I need to do when I'm wearing the clothes. The garments, you know, don't control you. You know, you have to control the garment. That's a little bit about how I got into fashion, how my fashion's kind of evolved over the years. I'm even going to show some pictures here. There's one that I definitely want to show, that a few images that kind of show layering, how I like to layer. Layering is very fun, and it's really beneficial for people who are very straight up and down. Layering, just things fall nicely on you when you don't have a lot of curves going on. They can hang on you in a different way, and they just look a little bit more interesting. And so work that, use that to your advantage. If you're someone that's a little bit more voluptuous, you can wear things that are very like tight, because if they flow out just a little bit, your hourglass is gonna be popping. And so it really is about finding what's going to make you feel good, what's going to make you look good. When you get a glance at yourself in a mirror, or in a, you know, you walk past a glass window and you kind of look and see yourself, you're like, yes, look at me. You know, girl, you did that. So that's what personal style is about. And I really do want to see us moving closer to our personal style, and just a little bit away from fashion. Fashion is always changing, and fashion's job is to make you shop. Fashion's job is to make you spend your money so that all these people who are creating the clothes can just keep raking in the dough. And as soon as you look up, you're like, that's not in anymore. And they're like, no. And it's very easy to fall into that. I fell into that. And nowadays, I don't like to shop that much. And when I like to shop, I want it to be for something that's very unique, something that is of good quality, and something that I'm gonna say, I am going to wear that when I'm 40, when I'm 50, when I'm 60. That's kind of how I shop. I will wear this when I am 80 years old. No problem. This is a dress. I'll try and put a little video on the side here so you can kind of see the full, the full look. But, and I'm in the house slippers, so I'm just going to be barefoot, because this and the slippers, that's not really a look for me. Oh, and there's one thing I forgot to, who is called? See, this is why I don't want a Google number. Thank you. There's one thing I forgot to mention that is a huge part of my aesthetic, and that is I like making clothes too. So add that into the category: vintage, modern, contemporary, and handmade items. Another word for handmade items is bespoke. I think bespoke clothing and garments trump designer, luxury, all of that. It's made for your body. And so I'm trying to get really good at crafting things that are going to sit on my body, and they're going to be made custom for me, because then I don't have to be like, well, it's drooping down here, and this, if this was lower on me, this little opening here, then it would show my bra, and I have to get it taken up. But if I made this for myself, I would measure this and wear it at the bra and be like, okay, so it needs to stop right here. And it would just be made for me. And the sleeve would be just open enough to where, I need it to be. And it wouldn't be like a one size that fits hundreds of thousands of people, maybe even millions of people, because it's made, it's mass produced and in a store. So that is a big part of my aesthetic as well. I make skirts. I've crocheted things, like a little shawl, a little kind of like it was a botched experiment that went wrong, and then I turned it right. And so I mostly have tried to make skirts. Not really shirts, a few little crop tops, but I have I have been trying to get better at like following patterns, and so that's what I'm working on now. Also, sidebar, I just got a new sewing machine, and it's basically a Christmas gift, but we don't really wait to open any gifts on Christmas. So, like if it's something we want right now, we want to use it right now, like it's fine. So I got it early, and I am going to do a video on that itself, because it's just, I want to talk about sewing and all of that. So maybe I'll do a little video on that. And if anyone's interested, please let me know down below if you like to sew your own clothing as well. But yeah, that's bespoke clothing that I can make for myself, clothing that none of y'all are going to be able to find anywhere because I made it. That means something to me. That's very special to me. And it should be special to you too, because it's like, hey, you cannot go to some club and have some girl rocking your same outfit. If you made it yourself, you know there is no one wearing this. I think we've had enough of those faux pas where we go to like award shows and there's two people and they're wearing the same dress. And then they're like, who wore it best? And it's like, oh, it's like my worst nightmare. I'm like, oh no, oh my God. No, I don't want to wear Valentino. Somebody else is probably wearing Valentino. The same Valentino dress you wearing, but somebody else is gonna wear that dress. Another sidebar. Why don't I like designer? It's not that I don't like designer. It's just that I don't like the position that we have put designers in. I don't like the pedestal that we as a society have put them on. They're like up here, like their stuff is so good. I'm like, nothing that they make can ever be good as something that you could potentially make for yourself, or something that you can buy from a store and have tailored. Just because it's designer doesn't mean the quality is always there. We know this because Chanel. That's all I gotta say. If you know, you know. And I'm not necessarily in the dark about designer, but I just don't find it to be that important in my personal life. I am much more interested in going to a flea market and finding some vintage items. Now, I've seen a vintage Chanel skirt at a flea market, and I looked at it and I was like, it's pretty. It was a little older and it was a bit dated, and I don't know that I actually want to wear it, but I think that if you were someone into fashion and fashion history, you would totally want to buy that skirt and put it in your little like curated museum or something, or like like an art display. That would be really cool. But it's not that I hate it. I like things that are quality, and some of those things are made by designers. But you can get mid-level clothing that's made really well too, and it's going to last a long time. I definitely want to support Black designers more than I support what I refer to as the dirty dozen. You know, if I'm going to buy something that costs a lot of money, I would rather give it to an up-and-coming designer, preferably someone who is a woman, preferably someone who's gay, preferably somebody who's Black. I just don't care to like support rich white people who've been doing fashion for a millennia plus, or those who have been gatekeeping the fashion world in general. It just kind of makes me go, eh. It just doesn't do anything. It doesn't tickle my pickle. I don't mind a little designer, but if I do want something, it's gonna probably take me a while to decide on it, and I'm gonna make sure that I just, you know, this is something I really like. I'm not a frivolous buyer like that. So yeah, that all of those things kind of make up Autumn. That's who I am. I really enjoy my aesthetic because it just makes me feel good. It makes me feel nice. I have a little bit more of a pep in my step. I find that when people feel like they encounter someone and that person just looks really bright and interesting, people tend to respond in a more positive way than when you're looking a little bit tired, you know? Unless you go to the dollar store and you're dolled up, then they may give you a little attitude. Same thing at Ross. They may give you a little attitude. I don't know what it is, but sometimes they be giving attitude, and I'm like, good morning. And I'm like, okay, girl, bye. I know that the customers at Ross are questionable, obnoxious, and a whole lot of other things. A whole lot of, shout out to I Am Zoe. I used to dress kind of down because I was like, I'm not going anywhere special. I don't care now. I don't care. And because now I don't work a 9-to-5 job, I am not employed by a standard run-of-the-mill typical employer. I am a whole housewife now. It's easy to fall into that rut where I don't wear anything pretty or I don't wear anything nice. I'm just running around cleaning, caring for the cats, doing the laundry, doing the cooking, gardening, all sorts of stuff. it's easy to look a little bit more relaxed, and then you just kind of feel like, so I said, no, I don't want to do that. Fix my hair real quick. I want to feel cute and I want to look cute. So I said, yeah, that's what we're going to do. If you are someone out there who is interested in maybe updating your style, or you're interested in maybe finding your style because you don't feel like you've fully found it, or maybe you're just a little bit older and you feel like your style needs to like shift a little bit, we're going to be talking about that too on this channel. So I think for the next video, I want to talk about what I plan to do with regard to my fashion as I move into my 40s. I turn 40 next year. I'm really excited about it. And I noticed some months ago that I felt this shift, this pull, this tug towards not wearing certain things anymore and incorporating other things a little bit more than I did in the past. And so I want to talk about that. So that's probably what our next video, our next chat's going to be about. Maybe it'll be fireside. Maybe it'll be fireside. It's been getting cold. It was 29 degrees this morning. I was like, huh? I would love to have you join me on the next video where we talk about personal style. And yeah, I'm really excited. I get to share some of my, I have found some beautiful vintage things that are just like mind-blowing. There's so much good vintage out there. That's the thing I don't get about people who are like into all these newer like fashion things. I'm like, there's so many great things that are so old and beautiful and they just have character. I like old things, period. I like old clothes, old shoes, old hairstyles. I like old houses. I like old sewing machines. More on my sewing machine. Guess the year of my sewing machine. Just guess the year. She's pretty old. She's kind of old. Well, yeah, some people would say she's pretty old now. Some people would say she's hit the wall. Shout out to the red pill community. Anyway, that is it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed our little chat, and I hope you join me for the next one. Please subscribe if you like personal style aesthetics and want to know a little bit more. So that's it. See you soon and have a great day. See ya. Bye.